When you click on the Formulas tab, the Formulas tab is going to take you to what we call the Function Library. In the Functions Library, you will get all the functions in Excel in categories. The first category here is the Autosum category. When you open the Autosum category, you have sum function, you have average function, you have count, max, and min. This is in the Autosum category. We have other categories here, like financial. If you want to calculate interest rates and other financial values, you use functions from the financial category. When it comes to logical, this is where you want to test a logic. And today we'll be using the if. We also have text functions. If you want to change upper cases to lower cases or perform any text function, you come to the text category and you choose a text function. We also have date and time, lookup and references. This is also very useful. We use one particular one called VLOOKUP. Sometimes we use HLOOKUP. We also have math functions. We have more functions here, some under statistical, some under engineering, cube, information, compatibility, web, and so on.
Tonight's on Certiport News. MOS 2016 certifications now available. But first, your eye in the sky. Red Scott. Hi, everyone. We're live above the United Nations, where people from all over come to discuss important global issues. And if you want to communicate with everyone here, you can learn hundreds of languages. Or you can learn to speak Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office products are universal. It's a common platform no matter where you go. I mean, you'd have to go through a wormhole to Alpha Centauri to find someone who's never heard of Microsoft Office. Never heard of it. Never. I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Right, okay, the point I'm trying to make is the only way to prove you're fluent in Microsoft Office products is to get Microsoft Office Specialist certified. Look, we all know that MOS exams are the gold standard. Nothing validates student skill better than a Microsoft Office Specialist certification, which, of course, is news to no one. But there is new. That's right, you heard it here first, folks. The newest MOS certification exams have reportedly migrated from single large project exams to multiple smaller project exams, making it enormously powerful for assessing student knowledge and skill. Certiport calls it a performance-based format for improved aptitude testing. Let's go to the Certiport information room and break it down. Let's go to our panel first. Todd. Hey, I tell you, they had me at revising the exam to incorporate more objective domains across the different exam forms. Total game changer. Stacy.
Look, y'all, now students have a deeper understanding of program functionality in order to complete the task.
Ahmed.
Stacy's actually right for once. The instructions now avoid command and function names, which sometimes gave hints to the test taker.
Jackie.
I think you're both missing the point. Microsoft and Certiport are saying to colleges and employers, hey, these students know the products. Hands down.
Hey, but students now know the reason why the task is being requested in the first place, because the certification exam takes place in a real-world context, preparing them for the workplace.
Hey,
let me talk.
Finish what I was saying.
All right. What about their learning aids being updated to 2016? Even G-Metric's practice exams for MOS 2016 are now available.
That's exactly what I've been saying all along.
Let's go to the big board. All right, the 2016 exams are now multi-project. Students move through tasks in one project, then move on to the next project. It's the best of both worlds. Small projects feel more real-world, and tasks demonstrate particular proficiencies. But how is this playing with the people? Maggie Wong is live in the field. Maggie.
Well, it's brutal out here in the real world, which is why digital badging has taken the world by storm.
Maggie, there's a tornado behind you.
That's right, Brett. Professionally recognized digital badges for MOS certifications not only validate skills, but they're convenient credentials for students seeking higher education or jobs.
Maggie,
I can't hear
Maggie,
you,
there's
Brett.
a tornado behind you.
There's a tornado behind you.
Maggie. And that about does it for us. We leave you tonight with students who got their MOS certifications and are so happy about it, they're actually looking up from their phones and smiling. Good night, everyone.
All right, good morning. How are you all doing? All right, today we are going to talk about certain features in Excel, and we'll also talk about a number of functions. So today's lesson is about Excel features and functions, and we have this assignment here, this exercise here, and based on what we will study, we are going to complete the tables we have here. This is our exercise for today, and we are supposed to complete the table and fill in where the question marks are. So this data set here requires us to calculate the total sales made by the sales personnel in this data sheet. So you see quantity, you see unit costs, and we are supposed to find the total sales. If you look here, to get the total sales, we will have to multiply the quantity by the unit cost. Now the question is saying that we are supposed to use a function to perform this calculation. The last time we looked at one function called the sum function. The sum function we know is for addition. Over here we are going to do a multiplication. So which function are we going to use? There's a function called product. We'll learn how to use a product function. If you look at the summary tables here, we are supposed to calculate the total sales made by each sales personnel. So when you pick one person here like Jones, we are supposed to find all the sales made by Jones. When you look into the main data sheet, you will realize that Jones made sales in January, Jones made sales in September, June, October, and I can see April, January again. And so Jones made a number of sales, and all the salespersons or personnel we'll find here, they all made a number of sales. Now the question is asking us to use a function to calculate the total sales. Which function can help us calculate the total sales? If you look at the question says we should use the sum if function. Sum if function. So we are going to learn how to use a sum if function to calculate the total sales made by Jones. We are not going to use a sum function. We are not going to use an addition formula. The question says we should use a sum if. The summary table 2 here, we are also supposed to use a sum if function to calculate all sales made in January. If you check in the main data sheet, you realize that we have different sales for January. There's one January sales here. We have another January sales here. If you look through, we'll get a number of January sales. We are supposed to use a sum if function to calculate all sales made in January. That's exactly what we are going to do. And over here we are supposed to use a sum if again to find the total quantity of sales made per item. Apart from that, in the summary table 4, we are supposed to find some statistical values here. We are supposed to find the mean, the highest, the lowest, the median, the mode, and total count. So there are a number of functions we will have to employ to achieve this. Also, in summary table 1, we are supposed to use a function called the if function to determine whether the salesperson was able to meet their target. So if Jones met his target based on the calculation we will get under total sales, we are supposed to use a function that will automatically display success. If Jones didn't meet his target, the function should automatically display failed. That function is called the if function. And we are also supposed to use the if function to calculate profit or loss over here. In January, we have our total sales and we have expenses. Based on these figures, we are supposed to use the if function to automatically display whether we made profit or loss in that particular month. So this will be our work for today, but we are going to learn a number of things first before we start this work. First, we'll look at what is the insert function in Excel. I want to open to a new worksheet and talk about how to insert functions. Now, how do we insert functions in Excel? There are a number of ways to insert functions, and there are a number of things you are supposed to know when it comes to functions. First of all, what is a function? Over here it says that a function is a predefined formula. We have to take it that way. A function is a predefined formula. Now, when it comes to creating formulas in Excel, you, the end user, you have to create or invent your own formula to perform the calculation you want. Sometimes in creating formulas, our formulas become too long, and other times they become too complicated. And if our formulas become that way, they can easily have mistakes in them. And so to prevent that, Excel has created predefined formulas and they have named those formulas. Now, functions are also formulas, but they are formulas that are predefined or inbuilt into the software, and they are used to perform calculations. Just like I said the last time, if you have a number of rows to add and you are supposed to create a formula yourself, you are going to use plus, 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 plus a number of times. Sometimes in organizations, the kind of data we deal with, we have several rows. So if you have about 1,000 rows to go through or to add, will you be able to assign the plus, 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 plus for 1,000 rows? That will be impossible and tedious, even if you can do it. And so to prevent such errors, Excel has created inbuilt formulas and they have named them. So anytime you want to perform a calculation, you can call one of those inbuilt formulas or predefined formulas and use. Those predefined formulas are called functions. Please, are you with me? They are called what? Functions. We can say that functions are predefined formulas that are used to perform calculations. We can also say that functions are inbuilt / named formulas that can be used to perform calculations. One key thing you need to know about functions is that every function in Excel is unique. Every function is unique. What it means is that every function is applied in a different way, or every function performs a specific type of calculation. Now, to use a function, you have to know the exact function you need. One thing I'll say about function is that, just like formulas, every function begins with the equal sign. Every function begins with the equal sign. We know that. Now, all functions, let me put it this way, all functions follow a syntax. Let me put it that way. And the syntax is this. You begin with the equal sign. You write the name of the function without spaces. You open parentheses and you provide the arguments. Now, to use functions in Excel, you need to follow this particular syntax. You start with the equal sign, you enter the name of the function, you open parentheses, and you provide the arguments within the parentheses, and you close it. Now, what we provide within the parentheses are called arguments, and these arguments will be based on the function you called. Let me try and explain this. If I want to use the sum function, I can enter my equal sign. What will come next? The name of the function, sum. Now, as soon as you type sum, you are going to be given a description of what it does. And it says that it adds all the numbers in a range of cells. That is what it does. So if you are looking for that function, you can go ahead and use it. At this point, you open your parentheses and you are supposed to provide what is called the arguments. The arguments here are what we have in the bracket. Now, what you need to know about the arguments is that every function has its own arguments. The way the arguments are in the sum function are different from any other function. Sum function is saying provide number 1, bring comma, provide number 2, bring comma, and so on till you get to the end. Now, when you open the parentheses, you can highlight the area you want to calculate. Once you highlight the area you want to calculate, you can close the parentheses, and what you have inside the bracket is called the arguments. Now, with this sum function, it can take a number of arguments, but you provided just a single argument. What you have provided here, what we have provided here, is a single argument. But this particular type of argument is called a range argument or a range of cells, because we started with D1, we brought column, and we entered D4. This is a range. Let me hit enter and explain it. Since we are adding all the cells in this range, any number that appears here will be automatically calculated to be part of our sum. Any number that appears here will be calculated because our function here is looking into all these cells to perform the calculations. All right, what happens if we have another list of numbers here, and we have another list also here. If we are supposed to find their total, we can still call our sum function, begin with the equal sign, enter the name of the function, open parentheses, and watch this. I can highlight this range as my number 1 argument, bring my comma, number 2 is activated. Can you see number 2 here? I can come here and highlight this range as number 2, bring my comma, and come and highlight this range as number 3. This time I have provided 3 arguments. Now, because we are still using the sum function, when we hit enter, it will still add all of them. It will still add all of them. So the total here is exactly 99. Let me click here and perform another calculation with the sum function. And over here, I want to prove to you how a range can be extended. When we type the sum function here and we open parentheses, we can actually highlight our range this way. Your range does not necessarily have to be on a column or a row in line before it will work. Your range can be in a group as well. Now, what we usually use is, for example, D1 to D4. Today I'm using D1 to F4. And this means begin with D1, but you end with F4 and everything in between. So, even though most of the time the range is in a vertical form or sometimes in a horizontal form, the range can also be in a group form like this. When I close my parentheses and I hit enter, I have the same result. Let me go to a new sheet and let's start this. Sheet 2. If you want to insert a function, Excel has a tab here known as the formulas tab. Please, have you seen this? When you click on the formulas tab, the formulas tab is going to take you to what we call the function library. In the functions library, you will get all the functions in Excel in categories. The first category here is the Autosum category. When you open the Autosum category, you have sum function, you have average function, you have count, max, and min. This is in the Autosum category. We also have a category that is called what? What do you see here? Recently used. So Excel will store the functions you have been using frequently. So it will pile those functions here because you have been using them frequently. So anytime you need them, you can come back to recently used and fetch those functions. Apart from that, we have other categories here, like financial. If you want to calculate interest rates and other financial values, usually at the bank or in the banking sector and in loans and other things, you use functions from the financial category. When it comes to logical, this is where you want to test a logic. And today we'll be using the if in the logic section. We also have text functions. If you want to change upper cases to lower cases or perform any text function, you come to the text category and you choose a text function. We also have date and time, where you get functions that will work on dates. For example, you have a data sheet that has an order date and a delivery date, and you want to find out the number of days it took for the delivery to be made. You can use a date function to work out that calculation. It can tell you when the order was issued, when it finally came, and the number of days it took. We also have lookup and references. This is also very useful. We use one particular one called VLOOKUP. Sometimes we use HLOOKUP, and a number of lookup functions for several calculations. We also have math functions for a whole lot of mathematics and trigonometry calculations. We have more functions here, some under statistical, some under engineering, cube, information, compatibility, web, and so on. Now, let's say you don't know the function you need right now, or you don't know the name of the function you want to use, but you know what you want to do. Let's say, for instance, we have products, we have quantity, we have price, we have total. There are a number of products that have been ordered. And you want to find out the total quantity of orders you have received. Let's say you are new to Excel and you don't really know which function to use. You want to put your results here, but you don't know the function to use. You can come here and click on the first command here. What does it say? When you click on insert function, it is going to open a dialog box for you that is called the insert function dialog box. This dialog box here is the insert function dialog box. Now, when you click on this insert function, you have the opportunity to search for a function. Let's say, like I said before, you don't know the name of the function you want to use, but you have come here and you know what you want to do. You want to add values. You want to add values, but you don't know the name of the functions. You can type what you want to do here and hit enter. When you hit enter, Excel will give you functions that can do what you search for. Over here, when I click on any of them, I can come and read what the function does here. So I read and I say, no, this is not what I want. I check the next one. I read, no, this is not what I want. I check here and I read. I say, yes, this is what I want. Where did we go before coming here? Insert what? Okay, so when you click on insert function, you type what you want to do here and hit enter or click on go. Excel will list a number of functions and you can go through and choose the function you need, and any function Excel will give you here, you can read about it. Let's say you never knew there's a function called sum, but you know you want to add values. So based on what Excel will give you, you can read more about them and know exactly what those functions do. If you want more information, you can click on help on this function and Excel will give you help on that function. All right, so let's select the sum function. You click on it and you click OK. Once you do that, another dialog box will open that is called the functions what? Function argument. This function argument is telling you that you need to provide the argument for this function, and it will give you the syntax for the argument. Now, the previous dialog box we saw, the syntax was there. Now it is asking us for the arguments directly. I told you what the arguments are. I said the arguments are what? They are the values, the range of values, or the values you need to provide in the parentheses. Each function has its own set of arguments and its own format of argument or whatever it needs. Now, when you come here, one thing you should notice that any argument that is in bold is compulsory, and any argument that is not in bold is optional. Anytime you are using Excel and you come to the function arguments, any argument in bold is what? Is compulsory, and any argument that is not in bold is optional. So the first one, we have no choice but to fill it. They are giving us the name of the function. If our arguments are right, they will give us a result of the calculation. And over here, Excel is telling us something. It's saying that number 1, number 2 will run up to 255 numbers. That means the sum function allows you to perform calculations up to 255 numbers as arguments. Watch this. I'm here to provide the number 1 or confirm the number 1. They have put in some values here. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not, but you have to confirm whether it's right. But watch this. When I click inside here, automatically they add another argument box for me, number box. When I click here, they add another. When I click here, now they have added all, and they will give me a scroll button here, and I can scroll through till I get to number what? 255. This means that the sum function allows up to 255 arguments. All right. For this simple calculation, we will only make use of the first one. Now, you can click inside here and type the name of the cells here, like B2 to B7. Let's check if it's correct. The calculation we want is from B2 to where? Okay. Now, it is not every time that what Excel will give you is okay. You have to check and be sure that it is okay before you accept it. If it is not, you can just clear it and type it yourself. Or you can click on this arrow here. When you click on it, the whole thing will minimize and you can come here and perform a selection. Once you do the selection, whatever you select will show here, and you click on this arrow again and you will see what you have. Now, before doing that, I should have cleared the whole thing before selecting this. Because I didn't do that, it has created it twice. So now, because I highlighted, I have B2 to B7. Please, are you following? Okay. I have more arguments that are optional. That means if I want to use this, I can click here and come and select another set of arguments if I want. And you'll notice in the formula bar that the first group is here, comma, the second group, just like I explained before. All right. I don't really need this. Let me clear it. I only need this. So B2 to B7 is not showing two arguments. It is just one argument, but it is called a range argument. All right. I'll see a summary of the calculation here, and when I click OK, I'll see the total where I'm supposed to see it. All right. Let me provide the prices here, and I'm supposed to find the total. Over here, I'm supposed to perform multiplication to find my total. So I will go back to the insert function to find my multiplication. So I'll come to insert function. I don't know which formula is used to perform multiplication. Let's assume you don't know, because it's not sum, it's not average. So I can come here and type something like multiply values, enter. Oh, okay. Product. Oh, wow. Okay, product, what does it do? It multiplies all the given numbers as argument. Okay, that's what I want. So I click on it, I click OK, and I see the argument. The arguments look similar to the sum arguments. Now they have given me B2 to C2. Let me check if it's right. B2 to C2. It is right. Sometimes the selection they will give you may follow a different form, so you have to check and confirm that it is okay. If it is not okay, you have to come and do your own selection. This is okay. I'm okay with it. I'll click OK. So now the calculation has been done. Is it correct? 3 times 10. Is it correct? Excellent. Before we talk about the next function, I want to talk about the autofill handle in Excel. The autofill. Excel has an amazing tool called the autofill. Please, are you with me? Excel has an amazing tool called the autofill. The autofill is an artificial intelligence tool. What it does is that it studies the trends of or the patterns within your calculations, and it makes predictions. For example, over here I'm supposed to perform another multiplication here, but because I have done one over here, I will use autofill to automatically find this. Do you see a dot over here? Do you see a dot? Do you see a dot here? That dot is the autofill handle. When you put your mouse on the autofill handle, your mouse changes to a black cross. Do you see the black cross? Good. With this black cross, if I click on that handle and I drop down, you will see that it will drop down or predict the calculation for this row. 4 times 15 is what? 60. If I do it again, is this calculation also correct? I can keep dragging till I get to the last one, and autofill will perform all the calculations for me, and they are correct. This autofill, I call it an artificial intelligence tool because it studies a previous calculation and predicts new calculations automatically, and it is almost always correct. Once the previous calculation is okay and the rest follow the same pattern, they will all be correct. For example, do you remember we performed the calculation here? Please, do you remember we performed a calculation here? What did we use? What function did we use? Sum. Watch this. Autofill is here. When I drag autofill here, it will calculate everything here. Check and see if they are right or not. They are correct. So this is the autofill handle. It is not only used when you want to perform calculations. For example, when I come here and I type January and I come down here and I use autofill and I drop down, autofill knows that if I've done January, then I'm likely to look for February. If I just drag this, I can drag till I get to December. I can type January to December by just typing January. If I want to write a list, when I come here and I type 1, watch this. If I use autofill, autofill will repeat it because it hasn't found any pattern, so it will just repeat it. But watch this. If I type 1 here and I come here and I type 2, now it has seen a pattern. If I highlight these 2 and I drag, the next one it will give me is what? 3. And it will keep on giving me based on the pattern it detected. So this autofill is an intelligence tool, artificial intelligence tool in Excel that can be used to perform automatic calculations. And this is extremely helpful because sometimes when you have a lot of calculations to do, you do not have to go and calculate for each item. With the autofill feature, the calculation will be done for you automatically. All you need to do is to do 1. Let me clear the values I have here and explain this in another way. The autofill feature can be dragged from the starting point of the calculation to the end point, and all the calculations will be done. Number 2, you can also double click on the dot and it will automatically detect where it should end and perform the calculation for you. Alright, so I want you to apply the functions we have used here to perform this simple calculation. I'm just giving you 3 minutes to do that on your machine, then we will continue.
No matter which career path you intend to pursue, the goals you set out to achieve, the job title you might earn, or the legacy you will leave, Microsoft Proficiency is a valuable skill that will make you shine in a crowd of applicants. With more than 13 million potential workforce candidates and more than 400,000 jobs requiring Microsoft expertise in the United States, Microsoft certifications give people the power and the tools to chart their own course, fulfill their ambition, and realize their full potential. In fact, Staffing agencies report candidates with certifications are 50% more likely to be hired full-time and receive an average of 10 to 15% higher wage. 91% of hiring managers consider employee certification as a criterion for hiring. 85% of supervisors report that certified employees are more productive and require less supervision. 86% of hiring managers say IT certifications are a priority. 89% are more satisfied at work. And Microsoft Office was the leading software package called out within the top 20 skills across representative occupations, coming in at number 3 on the IDC research list. These are just a few statistics that validate that Microsoft certifications give you the tools to build a brighter future. Start creating your own path and prepare yourself for a successful career with industry certifications that are globally recognized and the only certifications with Microsoft's stamp of approval. It's not just about getting the job. It's about enjoying the job.
Okay, we have to continue. All right, so let's say we have two dates here and we have an order date. The first one is an order date, and the second one is a delivery date. We want to know the days it took in transit. How many days did it take between the order date and the delivery date? We want to put the calculation here. Okay, I don't know which function to use, but I know what I want to do. So I'll come to the insert function. Is this where we've been coming?
Yes.
All right, apart from clicking on insert functions, you can click on the same insert functions over here. Please, do you see this? It's the same thing. This is always visible on your formula bar. No matter where you are, you can see it, and you click on it. It will bring the same insert function dialog box. Okay. So let me search for number of days. Enter. And check. This one gives me what it does. It's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I'm looking for. This one says returns the number of days between two dates. Is this what I'm looking for?
Yes.
This is what I'm looking for. This will work. There's another one here called net work days. This one returns the number of whole work days between two dates. It's very similar to this, but this one considers working days. So if we want to find the working days and not just the days, we'll use this particular one. Let's try that one and see. When you click OK, look at the argument it's asking us. Please, can you see this? Now I told you that all the arguments are different based on the function you are using. And number two, when you come here, anything in bold is what? Is compulsory. So here start date is compulsory, end date is compulsory, but holidays is optional. Okay. To find my start date, I can click on this arrow and come and click on the start date. This is my start date. I click on the arrow again to go back in. I come to end date. I can choose not to click on the arrow, but just come here and click on what I want, and it will appear here. This is the name of the cell that shows my end date. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, I don't want to give a holiday because it's optional. Let me go ahead and click OK. And over here, it has given me 12 days. From 18th September to the 5th of October, it took 12 days. Let me use autofill. Have we talked about autofill? Yes. To perform the calculations for all of these, and you see that they are right. Let's check the last one. 23rd September to the 30th of September. How many days are in between? 6 days. So you can see that Excel has functions for several things you want to do. All right. We are yet to look at some critical functions, but I want to talk a little bit about the status bar at the bottom here. Over here, what do you see?
So before you move in, candle score, the date, the way you put it, is that the only way that you can put the date?
This date?
Yeah.
Okay, as for dates, dates can appear in different formats. Yes, on the home tab, you will see the formats here. We have this format, and the format will tell you what you have here, and this is what? Date, right? When you click on it, you can go and check for more information. When it comes to date, we have short date, we have long date, we have time. If you want it to appear in the long date format, you can choose from here. Even though you entered it this way, you can come here and choose long date. When you choose long date, it will appear in long date. Now, I'm happy we are seeing the hash 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 here. This hash hash hash, it has a meaning. It simply means the space is too, okay, it's not wide enough for the values or the data that wants to show. So what can we do? We expand the width and we'll see it. So with the long date format, it will show the day, Saturday, 18th September. So I don't have to type it myself. I can just come here and change the date format to long date if I want. And the calculation will still be done. So once it is date and it's entered in right, and over here you see date written, that means it has recognized it as a date. Anytime you see this hash hash hash, it means the column width is not wide enough, so you need to open it. You can use double click here and it will do it automatically for you. Okay, please, are you okay? Okay, at the bottom here we have a bar here called the status bar. The status bar, when you go to the right side, it gives us certain features. For example, over here we have a slider here that can help us zoom in our work. Over here, zoom out. So if we are not seeing this, you can click here to zoom in, and it will zoom in a little bit for you to see well. This is not increasing the size or anything, it is just bringing it closer to you for you to see it properly. Apart from that, watch this. When you highlight a number of cells and there are numbers in them, you are going to find some automatic calculations on the status bar. Over here, it is going to give you the sum. What do you see here?
The sum.
420. Here is to give you count and average. These three calculations are constant. Anytime you want to calculate something, without performing the calculation to know that sum will give me 420, I can just highlight it and check the status bar, and I will know that it is 420. Can you see it? Anytime you want to perform any calculation, you can just highlight it and check those information here. So I can get my sum right from here. I can know the count and know the average. Okay, listen to me. Right now, we are still looking at functions, and we saw the categories of functions. One of the categories is called the Autosum. The Autosum category has been repeated on the Home tab. When you click on the Home tab, at the far right, the Autosum is always here. And when you click on it, you will see those functions we talked about. We have the sum, average, count, max, and min. These are various functions, but they are under what we call the Autosum. So if you want to perform sum calculation, you can just come to the Autosum and click on sum. When you click on it, Excel will automatically highlight the range of values for you, and your job is to check if that is exactly what you want. It does not mean that anytime it highlights for you, it is okay. You still have to check. If you check and you want to make some changes, at the top corner here, you can see some small handle at the top corner here. Can you see some dots here? You can click on the dot and reduce the number, the selection if you want. You can do the same at the bottom if you pick it right. I've done it. If this is not what I want, I have to come and highlight the right range that I want. Let's say I was looking for some of this and Excel went to pick this. If I'm not okay, I can change it. That's what I want you to understand. Okay. The next thing here is for us to look at the mean. Mean is the same as average. Mean is the same as average. In statistics, mean is a value or a calculation that means a lot in statistics. Anytime we are taking statistics, the mean is very important. And so you'll be performing a lot of mean calculations. Now, to perform the mean, you can find it in the Autosum. You click on the average and it highlights the range for you, and you click OK. Or you can use the method we talked about here. You click here and you type it, or you just type what you are trying to find. I'm looking for mean. For mean, they have given me a number of functions that can do mean. What we are looking for is average. So I'll check all of them and see the one that works best. I think average is exactly what I'm looking for. I click OK and I provide the arguments. So the arguments I need are exactly the C2 to C7. It's okay. I can see the total here and I can click OK to apply it. Now I want to show you something else before we talk about the other functions briefly. When you double click on a function, or when you double click on any value that was calculated from a function, something happens in the formula bar area. First of all, in the formula bar, the function is revealed to you here. Please, can you see it? Yes. Now, what you may not know is that when you come back here to where the name box was, you will see the name of the function. Have you seen it there? Yes. And it allows you to have a drop down and change it. I can change this if I want to, from average to sum, and it to change. So it opens the arguments dialog box for you, and you can confirm what you want to do. All right, we have seen the mean. We also have a calculation called the mode. What is a mode?
Is the number that occurs most frequently.
the number that occurs most frequently. So here we are supposed to find the mode. If you know the function, you can go ahead and type it yourself. If you don't know, you go to the insert function and you search for it, mode. So you see that there's a function called mode over here. So you click on it. The argument is similar to what we are used to. I click OK and it tells me 10. Is that correct? Okay, giving me 10. Okay, let's take it that way. 20 is also repeating, eh? Okay, let me come here and type 20 here and see what will happen. So now it's giving me 20. If I put 10 here, it will give me 10. So mode simply means the number that occurs most frequently. Alright, so that is it. And the median, if you want to find a median, if you know the function, you can go ahead and type it, median, and you select the numbers and it will give you the median. What is a median? So median is a middle number, mode is the most frequent number, and mean is the average. Okay, so I have two very important functions. Okay, we have count. I think we've done it before. Let me do it briefly. Over here, if you want to do count equal to count, you open the parentheses, or you can find your count at the Autosum. It's the same as count. We have count numbers. You can count text as well, but this is for numbers. So it will highlight them. When you click OK, you get a count. So I have 6. So that's exactly what I have. Alright. So now we have two important functions we need to study to be able to answer our questions. The first one is called what? If. This is a conditional function. And this function allows you to test a condition. If the condition is true, it allows you to show a value or a text. If the condition is false, it allows you to also print something else or show something else. All right. Now, let me insert a new column here and call this column delivery status. Okay, over here, this delivery status here is supposed to tell you whether you should go ahead and deliver the product or not, based on the threshold. And what I mean by that is that we want to set a condition that says that if the total is more than 50, then deliver. If the total is not more than 50, you should write a message that says, now this if, I can come here and click on the insert functions and I will search for it. If now over here, it is not, we don't come here only when we don't know the function we are looking for. You can come here when you know the function or not. So I know the function I want to use. If I can come here, click go or enter, and it will find it for me. I know I'm looking for if. I've seen it. I can also come here and start typing the function if. When I open the parentheses, instead of entering the argument myself, I can now come here and click here to open this. What do you see here? So this function argument here, it showed after I typed the name of the function and I opened the parentheses and I clicked here on the insert function, and it brought me straight to the function argument. One thing about this dialog box is that any argument you select, you can get more information about that argument here. Any argument you select, you can get more information about that. If you don't use this argument dialog box, you will not know, you will not get additional information. Are you following? Yes. This argument here, I will not know that this is what it does. Is the value that is returned if the logical test is false. If omitted, false is returned. I don't get more information. Let me cancel and explain what I want to say. If you come here and you enter the function yourself, when you enter the function yourself, you get a description of the function here, but that is all you get. When you open the parentheses, you are given the syntax and you are told the arguments you are supposed to provide. Over here, I'm supposed to provide a logical test, bring comma, provide value if true, bring comma, provide value if false. But I'm not giving more information about logical tests. I'm not giving more information about value if true. I'm not giving more information about value if false. After I enter this, if you have a question, you ask me. I prefer using the insert function here, and I'll have my arguments here. They are the same, but I have them here and I have more. It's easier to work on it over here. The function we are using or applying is called what? This particular function requires 3 arguments. The first argument is a logical test. That means before you can use a if, you need to perform a test. Now, what is the test I want to perform? I want to say that if total is greater than or equal to 50, that is my test. So I'll come here and say total. Total is the name of this cell. I'll select this cell, D2. If D2 is greater than or equal to 50, that is my test. Over here, what do you see? Value if true. If true, then the action says deliver. And I was supposed to put it in quotation marks. I didn't, and they've done it for me. If false, not ready. Let's type not ready. Okay. When I click OK, I'm going to get one result. This one says what? Not ready. Why is it giving me not ready?
Because that condition is not met.
The condition is not met. Excellent. Let me apply the autofill. You can see that some of them are saying deliver, some of them are saying not ready. The ones that are saying deliver, it means they have met the condition. Because there's a condition in the cell that says that the total needs to be greater than or equal to 50. And if so, it should show this message, deliver. If not, it should show not ready. Any question about the if function? If you don't understand, let me know and I'll explain it in a different way.
So then what about let's say for example have a range of student scores where you are supposed to say if they fall within a range, if you get from let's say from 50 to let's say 80, then that is pass. And when you get less than that, then that is fail.
Excellent. So what he's talking about is a condition. It's a condition, and that condition it is if that can get that particular result for you. So let me open to a new sheet and demonstrate what he just said here very fast. Over here we have score, all right, and we have remarks. And let's say a student got 70, another student got 90, another student got 85. Now you are saying that if the students got between 50 or what, let's say between, what did you say? Okay, we should make 80 and above, eh? Okay, so 80 to 100 is what? Is pass. Okay, all right, so that's what we want to do. So we want to check whether this condition or this score is 80 or it meets our condition. So we will press and the equal sign. We'll start with the equal sign and enter the name of the function if. Now look at what they told us about if. They said it checks whether a condition is what? Is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. So here I'll open my parentheses and I can enter the arguments right from here. I need to provide a test. The test says that whatever is in this cell should be greater than or equal to 80. That is a test. Comma. What is in bold now? Value if true. So if it is true, we want to type pass, comma, value if false. If it is false, we want to type failed. Close parenthesis, enter, and this student failed because it didn't meet the condition. Yes.
This, can we also go to the function?
Exactly. The first one, that's why I did it. This one, I intentionally did it here. Let me double click on this and click here. Insert function. It will pick all my arguments for me here. I can work on them here. Please, are you here? Okay. So that is it. If I use autofill, these two passed. Okay, now if this student has passed and we realize that the number here is a mistake and we come here and we change it, you see we don't have to perform another calculation. The calculation is already within the cell. So based on what we show here, if you realize that the 60 is failed, let's say this person got 87, automatically passed. So in a spreadsheet, you can use these functions to check conditions. All right, I have one last important function, and after that you'll be able to answer the questions here. The function I want to talk about is called the sum if. And to perform the sum if, let me go ahead and show you, do it here for you to see. Before we can find the total sales here, we need to perform the calculation here. Over here, we are supposed to find total sales in this table. We have quantity and we have unit cost. How do we find the total here? It's product, right? So we'll bring equal to product of this, comma, and that. We want their product. The question said you should use products. You should use a function. So you cannot use a formula by calculating the name of the cell times another name of the cell. It will give you the correct answer, but it's wrong because the question specifically said use a function. All right. Now, when you are working within a predefined table and you click on a certain column, it will tell you the heading of the column rather than the name of the cell. And because of that too, when you perform just one, it will most of the time it will run through and perform the rest for you. Okay, so this is fine. Let me use autofill to fill in the rest. Okay, so the rest are all done. All right. Okay. We are supposed to find the total sales for the products sold in May by Howard, and the item is pen, and he sold 96 pens, and each pen is 4.99. How can we find the total? We can only find the total when we multiply quantity by the unit cost. Is it correct? Okay. Now the question said use a function. Okay, it actually said use a product function. So the question has given you the name of the function. So the product function is just like sum, just that it does multiplication. So you come here, you type equal to products into brackets. Instead of clicking here, you can also type the name of that cell. This is D3. I can type D3 and it will pick it. Once it picks it, I know it's right. Have you seen that it has selected it? Comma. This is E.
Why this one not?
Please come again.
I said that why this you are putting comma,
Not the column. Okay, I can use a column. Yes, because they are in range. So to use a column, I'll say D3 column E3. Have you seen this?
Yes.
It's also correct. When I hit enter, I'll get the same thing. All right. Over here in summary table 1, let me zoom in and talk about the last function. Then you can go ahead and work on this. In summary table 1, we are supposed to perform all the total sales made by Jones. Question AB says total sales per salesperson in table summary 1 using the sum if function. This is sum if. What it means is that we are performing sum, but we are performing sum if there's a condition. Let me show you how that function works. To use that function, I'll bring my equal sign and type the name of the function, sum if. If I want, I will go ahead and provide the arguments. If you check here, the arguments are different. Here it is asking for range, criteria, and sum range. I can come and click here and I'll get the same argument, range, criteria, and what? I can provide them here or provide them in the line. Equal to sum if. So apart from sum, you are learning a new function called sum if. Over here it is asking for a range. if I were in the argument, function argument dialog box, I'll know more information about range. But let me just give you the range. The range is where it will pick the condition. The condition I want to use will be picked from the column B. So this is how I'm going to enter it, and you'll learn something new. I'm going to type B column B. What I've entered here means all of column B. Notice I didn't say B1 column B2 or B something column B something. With what I have done here, it will pick the entire column B from start to end. Whatever is in column B will be selected. That is a range, and I will explain it. The reason why I use that column is because of the criteria I will be using next. Comma. What is my criteria? My criteria is what I have here. I'll click inside here. What do I have here? Jones. That means search column B and look for this criteria, Jones. Wherever you find Jones, comma, the last argument says what? Some range. Some range means the column where the actual values it will add will be found. Yes. So over here, the addition will be done on the total sales, which is on column F. So what this is going to be F column F close bracket. This means search column B for Jones and add any value you find in the total sales where exactly where it belongs to Jones or where it applies to Jones. So when I hit enter, I have the calculation for Jones. The calculation for Jones here is 2,363.04. If you want to confirm that, we can try it somewhere just for you to see. Let me click down here and type equal to wherever we see Jones. Let's pick what he got here. We have 189 plus wherever we see Jones, we have Jones here again, plus 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 I've seen another Jones, plus I've seen another Jones, plus I've seen another Jones. Unless I miss some. What I have done here is to use plus to add wherever I found Jones. When I hit enter, let's see what it gave us. What did it give us? Is it the same? So instead of using plus or a formula, you are asked to use a sum if. Okay, let me perform one calculation here, then we'll be done. So we want to check whether this salesperson succeeded or failed. And looking at the question, we are supposed to compare with the target. That means if we compare his total sales to the target, we will display whether he succeeded or failed. And this simply means that if he met his target, that means if his target or if his sales is greater than or equal to the target, then he has made it. So it's going to be equal to if into bracket logical test. Logical test says that this cell I4 is greater than or equal to this J4, comma. If it is true, you should type success, comma. If it is false, you should type failed, close. So we have it here, he succeeded. We can use autofill to run through for all of them, and we can see that some failed and some succeeded. It's simple. So with this, you now know how to perform the next one, that says check for profit or loss. You can do that based on total sales and expenses. You can check whether we made profit or we made loss. Then the next table says you should find the total quantity and check whether we have product in stock or products are out of stock. So when you find the quantity, over here you are supposed to find total quantity. So this total quantity, it will be found here. Where the quantity, we have the quantity here, we'll find the total quantity for each item. So you use your sum if to find the total quantity for each item. Then you check whether our stock is greater than, or you check whether we have in stock. If we have in stock, you type in stock. If we don't have in stock, you type out of stock. Then here you perform the statistical calculations of the mean, mode, and count, and those ones. So this brings us to the end of this lesson. I want us to briefly go over yesterday's work, and this is a worksheet we were given, and we were supposed to answer a number of questions. All right, so these are the questions we are supposed to answer. Section A, calculate the number 1 total sales per item in the main data sheet using the product function. So we are supposed to calculate the total sales per item using the product function. When we finish, we are supposed to format the figures in this column as accounting format without the currency symbol. All right, so calculate total sales per item in the main data sheet using product function. All right, so over here we have the various so over here we have the various items listed here, and we are supposed to find the total for each of them. That's what the question means. So to calculate the total, it says we should use a product function. We should use a product function, and the product function, we know it is a function for what? Multiplication, right? Yes. Okay, now over here we have quantity, which is 96, and unit cost. Now if something costs 4.99 and someone buys 96, how can you get the total amount the person has to pay?
You multiply the quantity by the unit cost.
Exactly. So we have to multiply how much the product is and how many the person bought. Good. So we are going to do multiplication, but then we are supposed to use a function. The name of the function is called product. All right, so to call that function, we'll start with the equal sign and we'll type product. If you check what that function does, it says it multiplies all the numbers given as arguments. So let's open our parentheses and we will pick this cell. This cell is called D3. So I can just type D3 here, comma, and also type this. That is E3. This is one way you can handle it. When you type the name of the cell and it picks it, that is fine. over here we are not using sum function, we are using product function. And all it's saying is that after calling the name of the function, provide the arguments. Provide the arguments. And the arguments here are the numbers we want to multiply. So we want this and that. So this is one way we can handle it. Another way is also to use a column. When we use a column, it means we are selecting it in a range. So it being in a range is also correct because it is just those two numbers that are selected. So it is definitely going to multiply them. Is that okay? Yes. Madam Gilana, is that okay? Yes. But if you don't understand, let me know. Yes.
Please, the first one, can you highlight the first one, then you drag it?
Exactly, it also works. That's another way. So you can drag like this. It's the same thing. Yes, it's the same thing. Now, over here we are seeing certain things we are not familiar with yet. And the reason is that the data here is in a special format. And the format is in a table form. So we are yet to learn how tables are formatted. After we learn how tables are formatted, you realize that anytime you highlight data in a table, it will rather give you the heading name rather than the name of the cell. So this is also correct. So long as what you need is what is highlighted, you have it right. So this is also correct. When we close the parenthesis and we hit enter, we are going to get the correct answer. So that is it. Let's try the other way too. So equal to product, equal to product into brackets d what? D3 comma E3. Okay, let me close the parenthesis, hit enter. Is it not the same thing? It's also the same. All right. Yesterday we learned about autofill. Now, since the calculations here follow the same pattern, we don't have to calculate it ourselves. We have done one. That is enough. All we have to do is to go to the autofill handle and drag it down to continue with the rest of the calculations. So as you pull it down, it will calculate the rest for you, and you don't have to do them by yourself. That is it. So they've all been calculated, and if you check all of them, they are correct. Yes, 125 times 2 is 250. That's correct. All right. Okay, so that is it. And we are supposed to format this as accounting format without a currency symbol, and I think it's already in accounting format. It's already in accounting format. If not, you'll have to highlight everything. You have to highlight everything. Come to the number format here and select accounting. Now accounting is already selected. Now when you select accounting yourself, sometimes it shows a currency symbol, but the question says we don't want to see the currency symbol. So now that the accounting format is showing and we want to remove the currency symbol, what we'll do is I will click on this particular handle here. When you click on it, it will open the format dialog box, and over here under symbol, you click on it and select what? None. Remember when we wanted to add the Ghana cedi, we came here and we selected it. So if you have dollar and you want to change the currency, you can come here and change it. If you don't want any currency to, you can come here and select none. When you click OK, it will apply the accounting formats, but will remove the currency symbol. And the reason why we know it's accounting format is how the figures above 1,000 is formatted. You can see that we have 1,0090. So because of this, I know they are formatted as accounting. All right. Okay. Let me just chip this one in. Over here, we are supposed to have a grand total. It's not part of the question anyway. And when we learn how to format data as tables, we will see that Excel can give us a special row for total. In that row, we have a drop down here to choose a type of total we are looking for. Whether we want a count of numbers or count, general count, or we want a sum. So here when I choose sum, it will rather give me the sum total. I don't know what you have under yours. Is it a sum? It's count. Okay, so change it to sum. And this option, we are seeing it because the data we are handling right now is in a table format, and we'll be talking about table format very soon. All right, so that's question 1. Are you okay with question 1?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now question 2 says calculate the total sales per salesperson in summary table 1 using the sum if function. Okay, so we are supposed to find total sales per salesperson in summary table 1. So when we come here, our summary table 1 is here, and we have listed, or we have a list of the sales personnel here, and we are supposed to find the total sales per salesperson using the sum if function. So the question is very specific. Use a function called sum if. Sum if is also a conditional sum, and it means it should sum if a certain condition is met. If the condition is not met, it should not add those values to our sum. It should only add if the value meets a certain condition. So now we are going to find all sales where the name is this particular employee or salesperson. Are you following? All right, so to use a sum if function, what you have to do is to start with the equal sign as usual. Type the name of the function sum if. Let me read what it says. Add the cells specified by a given condition or criteria. So it will add based on a given condition. All right. Just like all functions, when you start with the equal sign and the name of the function, you just have to open the parentheses. This is done for all functions. But then you need to check the arguments you are supposed to provide. Over here, there are 3 arguments. I don't know if you can see them. Sorry. There are 3 arguments, and I want you to tell me what the arguments are. Okay, so we have range, criteria, and what? Sum range. All right, so I can go ahead and provide those arguments now. If I want, I can come to the insert function button here and click on this. When you click on this, then the dialog box will open and the argument will be listed here for you. So first, we have to provide a range. If you check here, you get more information about that particular argument. Range is a range of cells you want evaluated. The range you want evaluated. All right, so what this simply means is that we want to highlight the range where we will find our data. Okay, the range can be any range. It can be horizontal, it can be vertical, it can be in a group form. Like yesterday I showed you how to create a group range. All right, this particular range, we want to check the salespersons where their names are found. So we know that it is in one particular column called B. So we want to highlight the entire column B. To do that, we will type B column B. This means pick the entire column B. If you check here, you see that, okay, here we are not seeing it, but let me cancel this and do it here for you to see. When I come here and I enter equal to sum if into bracket the range b column b, you will see that it has picked the entire column. The entire column is highlighted. Please, are you seeing it?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. So this is my range. Like I said, a range can be horizontal, can be vertical, or can be in a group form. All right. So after this range, I need to bring my comma to move to the next argument, and the next argument is for what? The criteria. Criteria means what exactly I'm looking for. Now, out of the range, I want to find this name. I want to find this particular name out of the range. So I'll just click on this cell so that whatever is in this cell will show here. And over here, I'm not going to type the name of the person, because when I finish creating this formula, or this formula, I will use autofill to calculate for the rest. That is why I'm using the name of the cell. If I use the name of the cell, autofill will intelligently pick or automatically pick the other cells for me. If I type the name, autofill will maintain the name throughout. And I don't want autofill to maintain the name throughout. I just want the cell selected. So over here, you are supposed to put the name of the cell that contains the name we are looking for. That is Jones. Now we are not done with our arguments. We need to bring comma to move to the next argument. Now when I brought a comma, I can see that sum range is now highlighted. So I'm supposed to provide the sum range. This is where the summing will be done. And this is also a range. In this particular range, we want the numbers we should add. But then, out of the range, we are going to ignore, we are only going to add where the criteria is met. And our criteria here is what? Is Jones. So, we are going to have all the numbers, but then, only the places where Jones appears will be summed. So, over here, we are supposed to provide the column here for total sales, because it is the total sales we actually want to calculate, but then we want to calculate for Jones. So this is our second range, that is the column F. So over here we are supposed to type F column F here, and this means it should pick the column where the numbers are. So that's all. This is all you need to do. This is all you need to do, and you close your bracket, your parentheses. Once you perform the first one, the rest are automatic. So okay, good. So how do we calculate for the rest? We use the autofill. The autofill, you can double click on it. This one, when I double click, you see that it will calculate, and it will get to the end by itself. Sometimes your row is really long. You have 30,000 rows. If you think you can drag by yourself, it's not possible. Or you'll be very tired, or you make a mistake. So when you double click, Excel will detect everything, and it will get to the end and stop. So it's all about making things easier. All right, so this is how to find your total sales. Now here we are supposed to find out whether the person succeeded or failed based on the sales targets and the total sales. So marketers or salespeople, they are always giving targets. Good. So at the end of the month, we check whether you've met your target or not. So each salesperson here has a target. So we'll calculate for the first person. This is a target, and this is how much the person made. So here we are supposed to put in a function that will check. Good. To create that function, we know the name of the function as what? if. The name of the function is if. Let me read what the if says. If says that checks whether a condition is met and return one value if true and another value if false. Good. Let me open my parentheses and check the argument. The first argument is what? Logical test. So I'm supposed to perform my test. Now the test I am supposed to put in is a test that would do the checking for me. Now, you yourself, how do you think we can check whether the person met the target? I want you to tell me. We know this is a cell that has a target and this is a cell that has the sales. How can we check whether the person has met the target or not? Now, the thing is that forget about the numbers here. Let's assume we don't know the numbers, but we want to put in a calculation that will check based on whatever number it finds. So, you said we are supposed to deduct what?
So that will be the target to be the argument.
Okay.
And deduct sales. Will be the target and
okay.
Greater than.
Okay. So it's simple. We are saying if the sales is greater than the target, then the person has succeeded, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the sales is also equal to the target, the person has also succeeded.
Yes.
So we have to say greater than or equal to. So the test is going to be like this. We are going to say this cell I4 is greater than or equal to this cell. That's all. I'm not done. So we've just done the test. After the test, you need to continue because we are not done providing the argument. We've only done the first one, which is what? After logical test, don't you see comma here?
Yes.
So you have to bring the comma, then you move to the next argument. The next argument says what? Value if true. Good. Now what I want to say here is that the value you provide can be a number or text. If the value is a number, just type the number. If the value is text, put it in quotation marks. So the success I want to write, I'll type it in quotation marks and close the quotation mark. This is how I'm supposed to do it. I'm left with one more argument, right?
Yes.
How do I move to that argument? I have to bring comma. Good. Exactly. I'll bring comma first. Then I'll bring quotation mark and type failed. Then I'll close my bracket and parentheses. What we are providing here is a function. Okay, it's a calculation, and this calculation is like a programming we are doing. We are programming the cell to show a certain result based on the numbers here. So here, your job is not to type yourself whether it's success or failed. Your job is to write the coding. You do the coding here, or write a formula there that will produce the result by itself. Over here, the result we are trying to produce is a two-way result. If the calculation or the test is true, it should show this. If the test is false, it should show this one. So when I hit enter, it is only one of them that will show anyway, but I am not supposed to type this myself. What if next time the sales changes? For example, when we come here, watch this. If the sale becomes something like this, you see what is here? Yeah, so it has changed automatically. In Excel, we use functions so that the spreadsheet will be dynamic and intelligent, so that anytime the figures changes, we will see the correct results, or changes will be made automatically. If you are performing a calculation, the calculation should be in a way that even if the numbers changes, the calculation will always be automatic and correct. For example, the total we have here, the total we have at the bottom here, it is not a fixed amount here. If the numbers here changes a little, it will affect this one. So your job is not to type the exact result. Your job is to put in a function or a calculation that will make it automatic. So if over here something happens and the price changes, you will see that the calculation has also changed. So that is how Excel is. Excel is not supposed to be a static sheet. It's supposed to be dynamic. Exactly. When figures are changed, it's also supposed to change. All right. So now that I have this, I can use the autofill to perform the rest of the calculations, and we can see that automatically some failed and some succeeded. All right, now the summary table 2 has a similar calculation. We have the total sales based on the months, so we are also supposed to use a sum if over here. Now you need to start with the equal sign, then sum if. When you open the bracket, you are supposed to provide the range. Now I want you to tell me where we'll find the range this time. Look into your work and tell me where we'll find the range. The range should be AA. Why AA?
Because we are dealing with January, February.
Good. So the column A, that is where we'll find the months. So we'll type A, column A. That's it. Then comma, we are supposed to provide our criteria. Where do we find the criteria? The criteria is right here. So just click on it. That's all. Then what do we do next? You bring comma, then the sum range. The sum range is still total sales, but this time the criteria is different. So the total sales is still our F column. So it's going to be F column F. This is it. Is it working? For January, eh? Okay, that's correct. So use the autofill for the rest, and the profit or loss, I want you to calculate it for me. Do it for me to see. If I-19, that's total sales, is greater than or equal to J19, that's expenses, then bring comma, and the value if true says we should write profit, comma. Now value if false. What is our value if false? Our value if false is loss. Enter, and we have it. So now we can use the autofill. We can use the autofill to perform the rest of the calculations. So you drag from here to the bottom. And autofill has been calculated, or autofill has calculated all of them for us. The next thing here is to calculate here. It says find the total sales quantity per item. The items here are pencil, binder, and the rest. So here we are supposed to use a sum if. The question says we should use a sum if. So the sum if, you bring equal to and sum if, you open the parentheses and you provide your range. Now the range here is talking about where we'll find the items. So when you come to the data set, our items can be found here on the column called C. So we provide column C, column C. That is our range. Then comma. Then we provide our criteria. What is our criteria? Our criteria is what we have right here. Now it's giving us extract, which can work, but we want to pick the name of the cell rather than this extract. So I'll clear the extract here and I'll type the name of the cell. What's the name of the cell? This is column H what? H34. H34. So come here and type H34 and it has highlighted it. Once it highlights it, it means you've gotten it. Now we need to move to the next argument, and to do that we bring comma. So what's the sum range? The sum range is where people get confused. The sum range is not talking about the total sales, but talking about total quantity. So we are supposed to use the D column for the sum range. So the sum range here is going to be D column D. Then we close it. So this is our correct calculation, or the formula for calculating the total sales using the sum if function. So we hit enter and we are going to get 716. This is absolutely right. To calculate with autofill, we can come here and drag it through and we have the autofill calculation. All right, now we are supposed to use if function to check whether we have some of the product in stock or we are out of stock. Now over here, the total quantities sold, total sales quantities are here, and the total stock quantity. These are the quantities we have in stock, and this is the quantity sold. All right, so over here we are supposed to use the if function to write a formula that will check whether we have some products in stock or the items in stock. So to do that, we'll bring our equal sign and call the if function, open parentheses, and provide our logical test as the first argument. So what's our logical test? Our logical test will actually be the sales, the quantity that we have sold. We should compare it to the quantity in stock. If the quantity in stock is greater than this, then it means we have some in stock. So we'll start with this one, and this cell is I34. So we say that if I34 is less or equal to this, comma, what is the value if it is true? If it is true, we should type in stock. Did you get it? Excellent. You're welcome. Okay. Then comma, value if false, out of stock. Alright, so this is exactly what you are supposed to do. So you type the test here. If the sales quantity is less than or equal to the quantity in stock, then we have in stock. So the value, if true, should be in stock. And don't forget to bring the quotation marks here. The quotation mark is not single quote twice, but it's just a double quote, not single quote. We have single quote. Sometimes someone will go, let me show you the single quote. This is how the single quote looks like. Someone will type this single quote twice. This is terrible. This is not what we are looking for. We want the double quotes, this one. And the reason why we are bringing the quotes here is because what we want to display is text. So anytime you want to display texts using if function, you need to put them in quotes. Then here we have out of stock, also should be in quotes. So enter, we know that we have in stock. And of course we have in stock because we have 1,000 in stock. We have sold 700, so we still have some in stock. Okay, so we apply the autofill here, and we'll realize that for all these products we have in stock, only the last product is out of stock. And it is definitely out of stock because this is a quantity we have in stock, and this is a quantity that has been ordered or sold, and I don't even know how we're able to sell more than we have. So definitely we are out of stock. Excellent. So this is how to solve this part. Now the last part here is very simple. It's asking us to provide the mean of the sales. The sales is talking about the sales we have here. So the sales we have here starts from cell F3. That's the first one. And when you come down here, the last cell is F45. So here, what is the mean of the sales? We need to use a function called average. Average is the same as mean. So you type equal to average, open parenthesis, then we provide our range. Our range is from F3 colon F45, close parenthesis. This is what we are supposed to put in. Enter, and this is a calculation. How about this one? It's asking us for the highest sale. Now all these functions, you can find them under the Autosum functions. Under the Autosum function, you can see that we have average, we have count, we have max and mean. Over here we are supposed to find highest. Highest is the same as max. Instead of typing max, you can also come here and click on max here. Now when you click on max, what Excel will do is to try and pick the numbers for you, the arguments for you, but the argument is giving me is wrong. It's not every time that the argument it gives you is correct. So this is not the argument I need. The argument I'm supposed to provide is from here. Excel could not imagine that this is what I'm looking for. That's why they couldn't get it. So I have to put it in manually. F3 column F45. Excellent, because it's in a range. So enter, and we have it. This is our highest sale. Highest sale. If you check through this list, the highest sale is definitely what we have here. That is which product? 18 something. That is it here. So which item was that? A binder. Excellent. So now let's look for lowest sale. The lowest sale is definitely the function called what? Mean. And just provide the range. Range is what? F3 colon F45. That's correct. This is a minimum sale, 9.03. That is it here. And which item? Pencil, of course. Pencil is 9. Okay, now median. Median is not part of the Autosum functions, but it's also a function, so it's called median. So we call it by entering equal to median, open parenthesis, the range is F3 colon F45. Enter, and we have it. Now the mode is also a function called mode, so equal to mode into bracket F3 colon F45. That's correct. And the last one is count. Count can be found in the Autosum function. So let's bring equal to count into brackets F3 colon F45, and count will give us 43. This is correct. So this brings us to the end of this assignment. We are supposed to perform all these calculations, and we have been able to do that. So I'm recording this because I want you to see how to solve these questions. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you have gotten the answers you are looking for.